Right now on the National Weather Desk, a bitter blast of cold is heading to the nation's midsection. We have the timeline, plus what you can do now to help protect your pipes and your furnace. And there's a heavy snow in the Great Lakes and a threat of severe weather in the south. We have the dramatic video showing the moment a tornado struck a South Carolina town. You'll hear as well from a survivor of this week's avalanche at a ski resort. And the role weather could play in this weekend's NFL playoff games.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Lindsay Mastis, and this week of winter weather is not letting up. There's another storm bringing snow to the plains and Great Lakes starting soon. And here's a look at Chicago this morning. Up to a foot of snow could fall by the time the storm wraps up tomorrow morning. And then early next week, an Arctic blast is going to send temperatures tumbling across the nation's midsection. Right now, there's a severe storm threat in the south. Our meteorologist Eileen Whalen is here with everything you need to know.
Well, let's start with that severe storm risk in the deep south today. You'll see the highest risk for severe weather today is going to come through Mississippi and Alabama. Damaging winds and strong tornadoes not out of the question. Let's move to the northeast. The I-95 corridor has the potential for flash flooding today. This is coming off of that system earlier this week that dumped, multiple inches of rain. So the ground is already very saturated. It's not going to take a lot to really bring some of the flooding concerns to the area. Take a look. The next weather maker is going to be an Arctic blast that's going to be coming into the plains. And look at all of the wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings that are in effect for the northern plains. Take a look at how cold it may feel tomorrow. Bismarck, North Dakota, a potential for a 45 below zero wind chill as we head into the upcoming weekend. That cold air starts sliding east heading into next week.
Snow has been falling in Nebraska since yesterday. A winter storm warning is in effect until late tonight, but that's when a wind chill warning goes into effect. By Sunday, the high temperatures here, it's going to be 7 degrees below zero. And as Eileen said, that bitter cold will be widespread across the nation's midsection. The cold will extend as far south as Texas, and while the temperatures won't be that low, it will be cold enough that local leaders are taking action now to prepare. Fred Cantu has more from Austin.
They were hard lessons. The winter storm of February 2021, with a string of days below freezing, paralyzed the city. And last year's ice blast brought tree branches down on power lines, causing widespread outages. Austin Energy says it now works year-round to make the system more resilient. It caught them stringing new high-voltage cables across North Austin to increase capacity for high-demand days like winter storms. And they reported finishing weatherizing their substations in early December.
Our personnel are trained for winter weather emergencies. Critical supplies are in stock, and our crews are ready to roll to respond to any local outages.
The main problem will be the cold, so the city is planning to open cold weather shelters even on the Monday holiday. Right now, ice is not expected to be a problem, but the city says it will be checking roads frequently, and both the city of Austin and Travis County say they're ready to take action to keep traffic moving. Local leaders say frigid winter events are not the freak storms they used to be, so they're set up now to handle this new normal.
The climate is changing, and the way you plan for emergencies should as well. There is no longer a question of if we will have extreme weather in our region, but now when.
Unusually cold temperatures are also hitting the Pacific Northwest. Theron Zahn is in Seattle with some advice on what you can do right now to protect the pipes in your home.
Icy weather is about to take over western Washington. Protecting your home is vital to keep frozen pipes from bursting. Seattle Public Utilities has this advice. Insulate pipes, especially those near outer walls and outside. Drain and remove outdoor hoses. Also cover outdoor faucets.
The ice really freezes them up, and then the pipes start to expand because water takes up a lot more space once it's frozen, and then pop, there you go. You've got a leak in your house.
You also want to find out now where the main water cutoff to your home is. That way, if you do have a pipe burst, you can try and minimize the damage. And never try to warm a frozen pipe with a flame. It can cause the water inside to boil and the pipe to explode.
Once the cold arrives, you want to make sure that you can still heat your home. Kaylee Whitlatch is in Iowa with steps you can take right now to stay warm later.
A lot of furnaces are high efficiency, so they'll have PVC plastic pipes running out the side of the house. You want to make sure and keep those areas clean of snow or leaves or things like that so that that furnace can breathe.
Another tip to keep your furnace going, make sure your return air grills aren't blocked by anything like clothing or furniture. Alliant Energy also says to make sure there's no snow piled up on your appliances outside.
Walk around the exterior of your home, check your furnace, your water heater, and gas meter vents, and clear away any snow and ice to help prevent any equipment malfunction. Keep your garage doors closed and really limit opening exterior doors. Make sure that your air vents and radiators are not blocked or obstructed.
Utah is expecting heavy snow over the next few days. And earlier this week, 2 snow squalls brought traffic in some communities to a halt. Ariel Harrison shows us why it took some people hours to get home.
UDOT and UHP say between the timing and the amount of snow that fell in a short time, the aftermath was intense. UHP responded to more than 150 crashes yesterday and more than 60 just this morning. The crashes and slide-offs led to backups that then caused traffic jams where semis and vehicles couldn't clear certain areas.
We saw several cases of people getting stuck or not being able to get through the snow, and that really snarled traffic for a lot of folks last night, including Point of the Mountain, where you can have 18-wheelers that are trying to get through there as well, and if they're not equipped to be driving in these conditions, it can quickly cause a mess.
Snow even fell in the Las Vegas Valley, and it was certainly a rare sight. A light coating of snow covered grassy surfaces in parks and yards in the Las Vegas Valley yesterday morning. The governor closed executive government offices in multiple counties, saying that road conditions were too dangerous. When daytime temperatures are warm enough to melt snow but plunge below freezing at night, the water will refreeze, and that creates a dangerous situation for drivers when black ice forms. So how do you know if you're about to hit a patch of black ice?
Yeah, it's almost impossible. What it looks like is kind of like a wet roadway. In ways you can tell, signs of it is, say you're following behind a car and the road looks wet, but they're not spitting up any water from their tires. That's an indication that it could be black ice.
The most important thing when driving in icy conditions, slow down. Many communities are still cleaning up following storms that hit earlier this week. One of them is Bamberg, South Carolina. That's where a tornado struck on Tuesday. Newly released video is showing us just how powerful it was, and you can see the heavy rain hitting the streets. The winds then pick up, blowing shingles and other debris in the air. And then as the twister hits the street, a building's second floor brick facade collapses, crumbling to the ground. At least 4 businesses on this street suffered damage in the storm. Some communities in New Jersey are still dealing with flooding from that storm. One man waded through thigh-high water just to return to his home and check on his cats. A number of homes in the city of Wayne are still underwater. A Marine unit rescued a handful of drivers on Thursday, and drivers said that they didn't expect to run into water that high. The NFL playoffs begin this weekend, and weather could play a role, at least in the 3 outdoor games. It won't be a factor at the first game tomorrow in Houston, but Miami versus Kansas City tomorrow night, it's going to be bitter cold. And we are talking 3 degrees at kickoff, but with wind blowing at 18 miles an hour, the wind chill is going to be 17 below zero, and it's only going to get colder as the game goes on. On Sunday, Pittsburgh is in Buffalo, and the weather won't be any better. It's going to be around 25 degrees at kickoff, but winds will be gusting to near 50 miles an hour. And then on top of that, there could be half a foot of lake effect snow. The Packers-Cowboys game is indoors, but it's going to be 27 degrees outside. That is much better than the 5 degrees in Green Bay. LA is in Detroit Sunday night, and it's also indoors. But tailgaters, beware. You're going to have to expect temperatures in the mid-teens and a wind chill below zero. On Monday night, Philadelphia is visiting Tampa. Temperatures should be in the upper 60s with a little chance of rain.